In this video, what we want to continue with is type 5 factorization, which is the sum or difference of cubes. Now, before we can start with the sum and difference of cubes, before we can start to factorize that, we just want to remind ourselves what are cube roots and what are cube numbers. So remember, if you say 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1, that will give you an answer of, let me just divide this into two columns. The answer will be 1. Okay, then we want to say 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. The answer is going to give you 8. We know something like 5 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5 is going to give you 125. Something like x multiplied by x multiplied by x is going to give you x to the power of 3. Because again, we say the bases are the same, so you're going to add the exponents. Since the bases are the same and the bases are multiplying each other, you want to add the exponents. So something like x squared multiplied by x squared multiplied by x squared, you just add the exponents to give you x to the power of 6. Now we want to say all these numbers that we got now as our answers here, those are called cube numbers. Now, it's very important you note a cube number is formed by 3 identical numbers multiplying each other. For example, 1 is formed by 1 times 1 times 1. All these numbers are identical to each other, and there's 3 of them, and they are multiplying each other to give you 1. All these numbers 2, 2, 2 are multiplying each other, and they are the same, they are identical to each other, and they give you 8. And 5 times 5 times 5 gives you 125. So that's going to be our cube number, while 5 is your cube root. And also we say x to the power of 3 is our cube number. Why is it a cube number? Because it is formed by 3 identical numbers multiplying each other out. So x multiply x multiply x, there's 3 of them, and they're all multiplying each other to give you x to the power of 3. The same as x to the power of 6. These are all identical numbers, and there's 3 of them multiplying each other to give you that. So remember, x to the power of 6 is a cube number. And what's the cube root of this? So the cube root is going to be x to the power of 2. So remember that we can also write it like this in mathematics. We'll say the cube root of x to the power of 6. And you need to easily tell us the answer is going to be x to the power of 2. Because we know that 3x to the power of 2's multiplying each other is going to give you x to the power of 6. So the cube root is going to be x to the power of 2. Right now, with that knowledge, we are going to factorize sums and difference of cubes. By sum, we mean there must be a plus sign. By difference, we mean there must be a minus sign between the two cube numbers. So here, we do need two cube numbers. So number 1, this is a cube number, and that is a cube number as well. So when we look at the sign in the middle, it's a minus. Whether it's a minus or a plus, it does not matter. We can still factorize this. So you open two brackets like this, and then you say, well, what's the cube root of that term, which is 5 minus what's the cube root of that term? You must first ask yourself, what's the cube root of 729? The number is going to be 9. And what's the cube root of x to the power of 3? Is going to be x. Right, so now that's how you fill out your first bracket. Your second bracket, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 terms. The first term is you will get your first term by taking the first term here and multiplying it by itself. So what is 5 times 5? Is going to give you 25. And then you want to take this term, multiply it by itself, which is going to give you positive 81x squared. Then the middle term, you will get it by taking these two and multiplying them by each other. So what is 5 multiplied by minus 9x? Positive times a negative is a negative. 5 times 9 is 45, and the letter is x. But you want to take this number, we call it the inverse, okay? The inverse of this one, which is positive 45x. So you're not going to take negative 45. You're not going to take it with its sign. You'll take it with the inverse sign. So that's going to be positive 45x. And that's how you fill out your bracket. So usually you would want to check whether this trinomial will be factorized. But in our case, this is how you factorize a difference of cubes. Now let's go to the next question. Again, now we say we want to open two brackets out because both, well, firstly, we have to always check if you can take out the highest common factor, of which we can for this one. So we have to start by taking out type 1, doing type 1, which is taking out the highest common factor. It will be 5. Then you'll be left with x to the power of 3 plus 8, because we know 5 times 8 is 40. So this is what you have. So remember, you always check for type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, until you get to type 5. Now this is what you have. So then this can still be factorized. We say this is 5. Then we open up two brackets for that because these are both cube numbers, and in the middle we have a plus. So this is sum of cubes. So I'm going to take the cube root of x to the power of 3, which is x. Then I bring this sign down. Then I say, what's the cube root of 8, which is 2. Now, remember, you're going to have 3 terms there. And the first term is made by taking this first term and multiplying it by itself. You're going to get x squared. You take this term and you multiply it by itself. You're going to get 4. And then you take these two terms and you multiply them with each other. X times 2 is going to give us 2x, but you make sure that you take the answer with the opposite sign of, well, if it was positive, now you put negative. If it was negative, you would put positive. Right, and this trinomial cannot be factorized. So this is the end of this factorization. Now we go to question number 3. Question number 3, we notice we have two terms and there's a minus here. So this is, and this term and that term, they are both cube numbers. So, and in the middle we have a minus. So this is sum of cubes. So we open up two brackets to try and factorize this. We're going to say the cube root of 8 is 2 minus the cube root of that is a, well, I'm going to put it in brackets, minus 1. A minus 1, because 3 of those brackets multiplying each other gives you a minus 1 in bracket to the power of 3. Right, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to let it multiply itself to give us 4, and I'm going to take the bracket multiply itself. It's going to give us positive bracket a minus 1 squared, and then I'm going to multiply these two together. So what is 2 multiply the minus bracket of a minus 1? Okay, so that is going to give us something in the terms of like minus 2 bracket a minus 1. So I'm going to put down here that I'm going to have positive 2 bracket a minus 1. That's how you do this. And now you can obviously simplify, get rid of the inside brackets. So let's just do that together to get our final answer. So I understand that this bracket, I still have to multiply the negative in like that. So I'm going to have 2 minus a plus 1. Now in this bracket, I have the 4 as it is. Multiply the 2 inside to give us positive 2a minus 2. Then I multiply this bracket out. Okay, remember a minus 1 is the same thing as a minus 1 multiply a minus 1. So you can just do your FOIL method in order to solve for that. All right, and if you do, you will get a squared minus 2a plus 1, right? So then we simplify this inside bracket. I want to have 3 minus a, and in this bracket I notice that I have a squared. I'm going to write that first. So I have a squared, then this is a positive 2a, like terms with this negative 2a, they will cancel out. And 4 minus 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So I'll say plus a squared plus 3. That's what we're gonna get here. All right, so after simplifying, this will be our final answer. All right, so I just want to remove this so that I will have space for the other sum. Now this sum over here, we have two cube numbers and they are adding. So I will open two brackets and I'm going to factorize. Cube root of x to the power of 3, we already know it's going to be x plus. The cube root of that, we say the cube root of 1 is just 1 over the cube root of x to the power of 3, which is just x. Now the first term is found when you take this first term, multiply it by itself to give you x squared. The last term is found when you take the last term here, multiply by itself. So it's 1 over x multiply 1 over x. These ones are going to multiply to give you 1, and the denominators multiply to give you x squared. So this is going to be 1 over x squared. Now the middle term is found when you multiply these two together. So I'm going to say x multiply 1 over x. That is going to be x over x, and that is just 1. But it's positive 1, so I'll put minus 1. And that's how you factorize that one.